Hello everyone, this is Encyclomedia here, and I have got a video response to Uberman. Now, full disclosure up front, I like Uberman. I like his videos. His channel is extremely helpful, and if you drive for Uber like I kind of sometimes happen to do, not always, but sometimes, then his videos are worth watching. Subscribe to his channel. There. I'm going to say that. So, I just want to put that up front because he made a video recently called What is Uber's Endgame? And he is right. Uber has not been shy about their endgame. They have been very vocal. We want driverless cars. We want cars, or not cars, Uber, to be cheaper than owning a car. That has always been their goal. He doesn't discuss the driverless cars in his video, but he does discuss Uber being cheaper than owning a car, which, let's face it, it probably is at the moment. That's all there is to it. And he said, of course, as I always do in my videos, comment below. What do you think? Well, I had some comments. I decided to make this video, or really mini podcast, because, as you can see, there's just an image here with an audio voice. I don't actually do editing! And these are some of the reasons Uber's endgame will fail. And it will fail drastically. I wrote some of these notes down. They're not in any particular order, but one of them was that making Uber cheaper means drivers will use Uber instead of driving for Uber. I mean, it stands to reason that if using Uber is so much cheaper than than owning your own car, why wouldn't the drivers use Uber as well? And now some of you might say, well, but if you're driving for Uber, you're making money. Well, how do you make Uber cheaper than owning a car? You cut the rates. And here's the thing. I've been driving for Uber long enough to see a few price cuts, or rate cuts, I should say. And I'm going to tell you this. Even though my rates go down 20%, 10%, 15%, however much percent it is, Uber has never once cut their 20% commission fee. They never have. And I don't think they ever will. So, because that's where they make their money. So, yeah. The only way to make Uber cheaper than owning a car is to make it so that it's so insanely cheap that it's no longer profitable to drive for Uber. And now another point he has made, not in this particular video, I'm talking about Uberman, of course, but in another video, or a couple other videos, is that there are plenty of people backlogged waiting to drive for Uber. And this is true. However, I believe that if the rates go down substantially enough where people stop driving for Uber, yes, those backlogged people will come onto the service. And then they'll stop driving because they're getting the raw end of the deal as well. Keep in mind, when you drive for Uber, you are using your own car. You are paying your own gas. Yes, there is a tax deduction at the end of the year. And full disclosure, even though I'm not going to be getting into it now, I am all for Uber staying an independent contractor. I do not want Uber drivers to be employees. But even as an independent contractor with these write-offs, if you're only making, let's say it goes down to 70 cents per mile and 10 cents per minute, which some places are getting paid as little as 90 cents per mile and 15 or 13 cents per minute. So this is not outside the realm of possibility. It could happen. It's not worth it for people to drive for Uber. And if you don't have anyone driving for Uber, the customer demand is not going to be met regardless how cheap it is. And it's not like Uber is the only one who makes this mistake. Since you all have seen my eBay videos, remember how I made those eBay videos about how eBay screwed sellers like a lot over the years? They always side with the buyer, even though the claims were fictitious most of the time. They side with buyers. Now, I talked to an eBay representative, and yeah, I know, different business altogether, but bear with me. They told me the reason they did this was because as long as there was people who were willing to buy things, there would be people willing to sell things. And they were probably right. However, they were missing a bigger picture where if you screw the people who supply your product enough, they will find another place or another way to sell the product. And that ended up being in the form of like Amazon.com, who is due for their own wake-up call. And in this case, especially since Uber already screws the drivers on the tipping issue, they might move on to Lyft or Sidecar. I'm sorry. I can't say that name with a straight face. I've had the Sidecar app for 4 months. It has never once pinged or rung or whatever the heck they call it. So, anyway, now let's look at the other thing. If people start selling their cars because Uber is cheaper, another reason you won't have Uber drivers much longer is because companies that this is going to affect, they're going to have to make that money back. Well, they don't have to, but they're going to want to make the money that they're not making anymore. So, car prices and insurance, those are going to go up. And unless Uber's going to help cover that, and I highly doubt they will, then, you know, it's not worth driving for Uber anymore. It just isn't, because you can't make the Uber rates and pay an inflated insurance premium as well. It's just not going to happen. And, of course, even though Uberman didn't discuss this in his video, all of this should, in theory, work a lot better if they provide driverless cars. Then there's no driver you have to pay at all. Of course, then Uber's going to have to actually look at the car maintenance and the gas and the insurance for the cars themselves, and they might actually realize, oh wow, all those people that we were screwing, we're now getting screwed. We can't charge the rates we once were. So, you know, you can't make Uber cheaper because drivers will become Uber users. You can't make Uber cheaper because if people start selling their cars, car rates and insurance premiums go up, and no one's going to want to drive for Uber. And if you have driverless cars, you are now taking on the expenses associated that the drivers used to take on themselves. And that's not going to make it cheaper. So, Uber will never be cheaper than owning a car. Now, I want to say, second disclaimer, maybe I should have said this sooner, I like Uber. Seriously, I do. I actually have no issues with, well, no major issues with the service. I like the service. I think it does a good job at providing some much-needed competition in an otherwise monopolized taxi industry. But that's the last thing I want to mention. Remember how much taxis sucked? Okay, they still suck, but they sucked for years, and we just kind of took it because there was nothing better. Uber came along, it was better. So people are like, hey, I like Uber. Wouldn't it be nice if it just completely destroyed the taxi industries, destroyed Lyft, destroyed Sidecar, I'm sorry. No, it would not. Monopolies never work. If Uber were to destroy all those things, it would become just as bad as the taxi industry. Maybe not in the exact same ways, but it will be just as bad, and then we will be clamoring for someone else to come along and come with a better idea. So, the moral of the story is, Uber's endgame for having Uber be cheaper than owning a car is doomed to fail. It will never, ever work. That said, Uberman, thank you for making the video. Thank you for all your videos. I appreciate hearing your thoughts about it, and good luck with your driving. And this is Excyclomedia. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and as always, flame response.